I love the unknown. And here I can go up rivers, travel into valleys and cross mountains, and it's all unknown. In fact, in many places, a person could be the first human to ever set foot. So I love adventure, I love the unknown, I love the wilderness and all it offers.
At what age did you begin to marry the North?
Marry the North is a good way to put it. When I got married to my wife, I told her that I was already married to the North, but she could come along for the ride. Anywhere you are in the lake, you just dip your cup and drink. It's unbelievable quality. I know that from diving off an iceberg in Great Bear Lake.
An
Into
iceberg?
the water, yes.
You
After
dove off an iceberg.
I did, it was
Okay.
in early July, and there were still icebergs floating around on the northeast shore. And I decided I would swim out to one of them that had floated into the bay. And after I swam out and climbed on top of it, I spent a few minutes and then dove under it. There were a number of Dene people, which are indigenous in that area, at a camp there, and they thought I was crazy. People like to think that the whole world is just known, and anything you can possibly think of, you know, people have been there or seen it, and to some extent that is true, but there are still lots of very amazing places you can go that see almost no humans and sometimes none at all. I found this area in the northern part of one of our provinces that stretched into the Yukon and the Northwest Territories, and it had a lot of geothermal activity. So I decided, after a lot of looking at maps and things, that this one valley, very remote, off the Alaska Highway, could possibly contain a hot spring. We were walking up this river, which was absolutely just stunning. There's mountains on all sides, long since left all human sign behind. And I remember distinctly this creek coming off this mountain, and I was very thirsty, so I took a drink, and it was ice cold. And it was very refreshing. And then we hiked another 4 or 5 kilometers, and another creek was coming, and it was a very hot day, so I thought, I'm gonna go get another drink. So just like the previous creek, I ran up to it and plunged my face and hands into it. And lo and behold, it wasn't cold water as it should have been, as all the water and rivers were ice cold. It was hot. When I was returning back home from that expedition, I met an old fellow who told me about a mystical tropical valley, which he said was in the area but a fair distance away from where I described to him I had found this first hot spring. And he said that this tropical valley had hundreds of hot springs, and grizzly bear were soaking in them every day, and that it was very prolific wildlife and mountains all around and tropical flowers. So of course I thought, he's a little bit out to lunch, but he said he had seen it, that him and his dad had gone in on horseback into the wilderness, and they had found it when he was about 11 years old, and he had never been back since. So I mounted an expedition in there, and that has become one of my favorite places in the world. There's no roads, no services, nothing. The grizzly bears in there are as thick as mosquitoes. So I went in there, and when we got in, we actually took a helicopter part of the way and landed on a river, and then we hiked in from there. And as we were hiking up this river, we came into the valley, and it was just as the old man had described.
And what was that?
Almost like heaven, if you could taste heaven.